Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. I hope you're all doing well. I hope you're all having a great day. What a story we have today. This one is coming out of England, and it just proves how crazy things are right now. You see, in today's lovely, stunning, and brave world, companies have now implemented the option for employees to include pronouns in their emails, because could you just imagine the breakdown someone would have if the wrong pronouns were used over email? It would be truly devastating. However, if an employee then decides to mock the whole idea and let's say put XY chromosome guy / adult human male, like with this story today, and then they're told to remove them because how dare you put such a thing in your email, but then they refuse, what happens to them? Think you know where I'm going with this one? You get fired. Welcome to England, ladies and gentlemen. Now, before I get into this and discuss this any further, if you could, make sure to leave a like rating as it really helps out the video. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, comment on this video, share this video, follow my socials down below in the description. And ladies and gentlemen, let's sit back, relax, and try to, right? And let's get into it. Not that I really want to, my brain cells are good. Well, the Telegraph have reported gender-critical council worker sacked after protest over pronouns on email signature. James Orwin fired for refusing to remove deliberately provocative alternatives, loses tribunal case. What country are we living in? I no longer recognize it. A gender-critical council worker was sacked after protesting about the use of pronouns on his email signature. James Orwin was angered when Caroline Lacey, the East Riding of Yorkshire Council Chief Executive, invited employees to consider adding pronouns to your email signature should you wish to do so. Remember, the most important thing, right? The most important thing. In protest, the IT project officer changed his email footer to XY chromosome guy / adult human male rather than he/him. I think it's got a better ring to it, you know, than he/him anyway. Mr. Orwin said he believed remaining silent when morals and principles are under threat facilitates the steady creep of evil. He claimed the council was not promoting equality but implementing a political position it had no mandate to adopt, and that the use of pronouns was a political gesture designed to intimidate anyone who does not embrace the contested ideology of gender identity, which, you know, if somebody does use the option to put pronouns in their email, the fact this is even a thing is just crazy, but if somebody gets those wrong, what happens to that person? So this is a political position, and people will now suffer because you've decided to introduce this clown world stuff. For what? Virtue signaling? In an email, Miss Lacey wrote, "Clearly this is a matter of individual choice, but I am keen to ensure that all staff know that the choice to do so is available to them, and that they will be supported in that choice in line with our workforce principles." And this is the lovely woman here. Yeah, she looks like she would have a go at you if you used the wrong pronouns. Mr. Orwin said he thought the only way to challenge the policy was to adopt deliberately provocative pronouns. He was suspended and eventually sacked after repeatedly refusing to remove his protest pronouns after bosses warned that they posed a serious risk to the transgender community and the council's reputation. So let me just get this straight a second. Let's go all the way back here. Using XY chromosome guy / adult human male as your pronouns in the email is apparently a serious risk to the transgender community and the council's reputation. What? You know, I'm not even smart, right? But when I hear these stories and I hear the language people use to defend pronouns in emails and it's a serious risk, I feel so intelligent. I really do. Mr. Orwin sued the council at the Employment Tribunal for religion or belief discrimination and unfair dismissal. He lost his case with Ian Miller, the employment judge, concluding that he had not been discriminated against by being told to change his pronouns. The tribunal did, however, accept that his gender-critical beliefs amounted to a protected philosophical belief. Wow. Mr. Miller said the real reason that he decided to add XY chromosome guy / adult human male was in protest. He said that the use of the footer was bound to challenge the agenda of those who are implementing it. His email footers were seeking to make a point that mocked and derided the suggestion that people could identify their own gender regardless of their physiology. The footer was designed to provoke, and we think given his acceptance of possible offense, was designed to offend. If this offends people, We got no hope. We got no hope. The judge said the implementation of the policy, I mean, why it's even a policy in the first place is just absolutely insane, was poorly thought through and badly executed, but added. However, this does not detract from the conclusion that the purpose and intention of the policy was to comply with the council's public sector equality duty. Given Mr. Alwyn's refusal to change the footer, the judge concluded that the council had been left with no choice but to dismiss him. Dismissing his claims of discrimination, he said none of the treatment he experienced was because of his beliefs or expression of beliefs. The treatment, all arising from his refusal to remove the email signature, was because he used a provocative email sign-off that was not acceptable to the council. But people using whatever else pronouns are. His claim of unfair dismissal was also dismissed as it was well within the band of reasonable responses of a reasonable employer. Well, there you go, ladies and gentlemen. If you protest against pronouns and you put... what was it again? XY chromosome guy / adult human male. If it's a reasonable employer, they can fire you because it's reasonable. What an absolute joke. Now, the point you could make is he could have ignored the whole thing. He didn't have to put those pronouns in, and then when asked to remove them, he could have. But somebody's making a point here. Somebody is pushing back against the insanity, the delusion going on. The fact somebody can just choose now to put pronouns in their email, and everybody must respect that, just shows what time we're living in. You know, if you use the wrong pronouns, well, that is a hate crime, right? You could get into trouble for that. Can you see the can of worms you're opening when you go down this road? But we now also have a clip of an interview to get into where we see somebody from Talk TV and somebody from the Free Speech Union speak about this whole situation. Now, the Free Speech Union in the UK is an organisation that will help people if they've been dismissed, fired for, you know, something stupid, expressing freedom of speech, etc., etc. But let's get into it and listen to what they have to say.
Ben, I mean, I'm quite surprised that this man didn't win his tribunal. Can you tell us a little bit more about what's gone on here?
I think, first of all, it's fantastically funny, to be honest with you. I mean, it's a great way of skewering the pronoun fad. Unfortunately, I think in terms of the law and of taking this particular case to an employment tribunal, James was in a situation where he was effectively defying a management instruction. His boss had told him that is not a pronoun, you need to get rid of it. It can't be in your email signature.
How can you say that's not a pronoun? How dare you? We have to respect all pronouns, right? Again, this is the road we're now heading down. Apparently one group of pronouns is accepted, but the others aren't. Oh, no.
And so legally, it was always going to be an uphill struggle for James to win this case, I think, I'm afraid. But nonetheless, the point he's making is absolutely sound, because as you've just said, we are bombarded every time you communicate with any sort of public body, a council, school or a hospital, or indeed large swathes of private business or universities or colleges or whatever. Chances are you will be interacting with somebody who feels the need or feels compelled to put their pronouns below their email signature. And it's a completely bizarre and unnecessary fad, and yet it's taken hold absolutely everywhere. You'll get an email from, you know, Melissa somebody, she/her. Well, obviously, I mean, that really doesn't add anything. And so I think James was feeling, as many of us do, that if you're in a workplace where all of your colleagues are having this kind of pressure put on them to list their pronouns, really what they're being invited to do is to signal that they agree with this ideology, that they agree that you can change your gender, that you can identify as a biological male and you can identify as a woman, and that you're not just being inclusive and cuddly and tolerant, but you're actually being asked to express a view that most of us don't share, right. A view that lots of people find objectionable and to be abject nonsense.
If somebody now chooses to put pronouns in their email, you then have to respect it. You then have to comply with that. So it's a political position, it's a political agenda, and they know what they're doing. It's going to cause a lot of trouble. And it just makes me happy I don't work in a, you know, a corporate company or whatever, because I'd be fired if I didn't use the right pronouns. You know, that's true. And, you know, some people say, well, just be nice. Just do it. Just be nice. Yeah, that's how you end up in these situations that we're in today, by being nice and tolerant of everything, by accepting everything in the idea of being nice. Be kind, right? No, you need to stand up for the truth, reality, common sense. You should not be forced to use pronouns just because somebody has decided to put them in their email. And the fact that a council is using or implementing this thing, like, you got bigger things to worry about. Worry about the potholes in the road than the pronouns and email signatures, yeah?
Yeah, do you know what I find the most peculiar about all these people who are the pronoun police and people who demand that you know their pronouns? Well, if I'm talking to Philip, who's in the same room as me, I'd be like, all right, Phil, all right, babe. You know, I wouldn't be saying he to Philip because I'm talking to him. The only time that I would be using Philip's pronouns is when Philip isn't even in the room. So these people who are demanding that you use their pronoun aren't even going to be in the room to know whether you're doing it or not. It's just mad, isn't it?
Yeah, the whole thing is an attack on your intelligence, because if you feel the need to list your pronouns and you say my pronoun is he, why do you then need to specify the other pronoun is him? I mean, any reasonably intelligent person can extrapolate that. And as you say, you're never going to refer to somebody when they're in the room with you by those pronouns. It's really bizarre because it's not actually about the pronouns, of course. It's not actually about being tolerant and inclusive. It's about ensuring that workspaces, that the public sector, that big business, that banks, that universities are all complying with this ideology. But I think councils and the civil service get into a real problem here because on the one hand, they're saying that our employees, our civil servants need to be secular, for want of a better word, that they need to be neutral, that they can't be expressing their political views in the workplace. But then on this particular issue and on a few others, actually they're saying it is acceptable to express a political or philosophical view if you're in favour of trans ideology. Whereas if, like James, you oppose it and you think the whole thing's nonsense, it's unscientific, you're not able to express the opposite view. And councils are trying to have it both ways.
That's the thing, man. We all know this by now. It's always one side that has to be accepted. It's one side that must be catered to. And if you challenge it in any way, shape or form, even if you put your made-up pronouns in the email signature to point out the delusion, you get into trouble. You're the one that must face consequences. You're telling people, as I've repeated, to comply with an agenda that some people do not agree with, don't want to comply with because they know it's false, they know it's fake, they know it's not true. But there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, welcome to England, where you can get fired if you mock pronouns in your email signature. It's very odd, very strange, isn't it? If you have enjoyed, make sure to leave a like rating. If you're new, hit that subscribe button, turn on bell notifications so you never miss a video, comment on this video, share this video, follow my socials down below in the description. But until next time, it has been your boy JD. Have a great day, stay safe, and I'm out. Peace. Oh, remember to use the right pronouns in your email, by the way. I wouldn't want you getting into trouble now. Get out of here, man.